Chapter 1. I groaned as the festive chatter of the radio DJ ended. Driving home for Christmas. Of course. I rolled my eyes and turned the dial, but of course the old rust bucket of a car couldn't find any other stations for me to listen to. I turned the volume down, then felt an enormous yawn build inside me, and turned it back up again. The merry cheer might not be the company I wanted, but it was the best that was available. And even in my forlorn state, I could see the irony of having to listen to that particular song as I did, indeed, drive home for Christmas. If only my home wasn't empty, maybe I'd be able to share the good feelings. I'd been a lover of all things Christmas once upon a time, but where was the sense in trimming up the house and making Christmas dinner just for me? The empty house waiting for me was why I'd worked so late. I knew, even as I told my co-workers, that I just wanted to leave things all neat for the next person. It was the last working day before Christmas, and the rest of the clinic staff had darted out of the place at 5 p.m. exactly, most of them wearing Christmas jumper or a pair of festive earrings. Some even had a strand of tinsel wrapped around their ponytails. I'd been living the high life as a locum GP for the last 9 months, but the woman whose maternity leave I'd been covering would return to her old post at the beginning of the new year, meaning I was out of a job and out of excuses not to spend more time in my empty house. I rolled the window down a little and shivered as the frigid air joined me inside of the vehicle. Setting off home without a warmer change of clothes wasn't my best idea. My silk blouse, pencil skirt, and heels were basic office attire, but the car's heater had given up months ago. The yawns were worrying me, though I knew a blast of cold air was a good way to help me stay alert. The snow was coming in thick and fast, and I'd lost my sense of direction. I hadn't passed the exit, I was sure of that. The problem was that everything looked the same, covered in the white blanket that the snow provided. I jumped at the sound of my phone ringing. My ancient Bluetooth speaker somehow connected the phone to the car, but the screen didn't reveal who the caller was. It made every call an adventure. "Hello? Can you hear me?" I didn't trust the Bluetooth completely. August? My sister was, you guessed it, an August baby. I was a Christmas baby, and just grateful my parents named me Holly instead of December. "Merry Christmas!" My sister's enthusiasm was infectious, that was for sure. "I'm being safe, don't worry. Anyway, I'm the big sister, I'm the one who should worry." "How is Jeb?" "I'm fine." "Okay, fine, I'll let you go." She knew exactly what I was doing. I heard Jeb begin to fuss in the background. "You go. We'll speak soon. I love you." I ended the call and pictured the way her brow would furrow with concern for a moment, until her hunky husband Tom handed baby Jeb to her and she returned to her perfect life. I didn't begrudge her having all that she had. Trust me, if anyone deserved perfect, it was August. It just made it harder to ignore how much of a failure I was, when I had her as my little sister. Not even my big sister. I was supposed to be the one who took the lead and set the example. I smiled and shook my head. August was my best friend, and she'd taken it well when I'd turned down the invitation to join her for Christmas. I usually spent the holiday with her in her cute little cottage that looked fresh out of good housekeeping. But I didn't want to intrude this year. Not baby Jeb's first Christmas. That should be an occasion that August and Tom got to themselves. I'd be fine. Christmas would be different, of course, but the fact was it had been different ever since our mum had died. The magic of the season seemed to have left us, or me at least, when she did. The radio DJ read out a warning about heavy snow, and I wondered if I'd be able to make it to the supermarket before the place closed. I'd put it off right to the last minute. If I couldn't get there, it really would be a pitiful Christmas day. I'd probably end up eating ramen from the cupboard. I laughed at the thought of that, but the grin was wiped off my face as I felt the car lose control. I recognized the sensation of planing across ice, but how could that be possible? The snow was so deep. Was there black ice hidden under the fresh snowfall? I remembered to steer into the skid even as every part of my body wanted to fight against it. It was no use. The car was going to end up wherever the ice took it, and I felt grateful that nobody else was crazy enough to be out on the road. At least there was no chance of me hitting another car. That thought made me smile, and then the car collided with something. And then there was a wallop against the windscreen as a fresh load of snow was dislodged. I shivered. I couldn't feel my toes anymore. I suddenly felt incredibly tired. It had been such a busy week, and really, I had nothing to rush home for. I decided to close my eyes just for a moment.